Hi, today's episode is with John Brown. He's an author and he's the founder of Business Enterprise Institute in Golden, Colorado. Now stick around to the end because we're going to give you an opportunity to subscribe to our newsletter and also win a free copy of John's #1 book about exit planning. Thank you to Zarlingo Robb, CPAs and Business Advisors in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, for providing a location for us to film this episode. At Zarlingo Robb, they think like business owners. For more information about Zarlingo Robb, please click their link in our website show notes. Hi, I'm Norman A. Hood, financial advisor and host of the Exit Plan Show. I interview America's top advisors to help business owners enjoy more freedom, grow their companies faster, and retire someday on their own terms. Now, today's guest is John Brown, Business Enterprise Institute, Golden, Colorado. He's author of How to Run Your Business So You Can Leave It in Style, which is the #1 selling book about exit planning. Now, for more information about John, you can go to the show notes after this episode. Hey, well, welcome to the Exit Planning Show, John.
Thanks, Norm.
Today we're going to talk about step 1 of the exit planning process. And step 1 is about your exit objective. So I'm just going to have you summarize that step, and then I may ask a few questions, have you tell some stories or whatever.
Perfect. So the background of step 1 is when I practice law full time, as opposed to not practicing law at all right now, we developed a 7-step exit planning process.
Okay.
And the first step of that was understanding as an owner what your objectives, your goals would be in this whole process. What I found is when I practice law, I would have new clients come to me and they would say, John, I just went to my CPA. I told her I wanted to transfer the business to my 2 key employees, and she told me that was the worst idea she'd ever heard. And these are, by the way, these little vignettes are all true stories. And so I asked her why it was the worst idea she'd ever heard, and she said, because your key employees don't have any money. And then they would ask me, well, John, is that true? Is this a terrible idea? Or I would see business owners who would have they maybe had gone to a conference or a seminar and they heard about ESOPs, employee stock ownership plans, and all the tax advantages those have in terms of transferring your business to them. And they'd say, John, is that the best path for me to take in leaving my business? Or they might say, John, I'm getting a letter in the mail every week from a business broker or an investment banker telling me that they have a client who wants to buy my business. Is that the best way for me to leave my business? And my answer always was, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a good path for you. Mm-hmm. And until we determine, or you determine, business owner, what you want from this exit and what you want for the business through this exit, I don't think you can make a decision on who or to whom do you want to transfer the business.
Okay.
So that's really what the exit planning process is all about. It's really about figuring out what you, the owner, want to accomplish for yourself, for your family, for your employees, for your business. Mm-hmm. And then the whole process. Mm-hmm. And this is what makes this exit planning so different from another process, maybe another advisor would suggest, is the exit planning process is all about the owner. It's all about you, the owner. What do you want? What do you need in order to exit the way you want to exit? And then our job, our obligation as your advisor team is to make sure that you accomplish that.
Okay. So, I know when you're in private practice, you did a lot of exit plans. I know you must see, hundreds of exit plans now or hear about them and that sort of thing. What do you think is, how common is it for a business owner to just not even know what their objectives are? Do you see that a lot? People say, well, I never thought about it.
Well, that's a good question. Most owners, by the time they're baby boomers, and again, most boomers today are over the age of 55. It's hard to believe. But most of those owners have an idea of what they want. I want to leave in 3 to 5 years. And in BEI, by the way, we do ongoing surveys all of the time to business owners. So our latest survey would say that about about 25% of the owners want to leave within the next 3 years, about 30% in the next 3 to 5 years, about another 30% in the next 5 to 10 years, and about 15% more than 10 years from now. So most owners want to leave within 10 years. And they have a general sense of what they would like. They would like financial independence. They would like to see the business continue, usually. And they might have an idea of who they would like to transfer the business to. But none of that, or very seldom, is that ever quantified and made specific.
Okay.
And what we found is that unless an owner is going to really become as specific as possible, to visualize what they see their life being after they leave, it's very hard to take action on that. So we have come up with a set of what we call universal objectives. Objectives we think every owner has. And these are, when do I want to leave my business? You know, and what does that mean, leaving? Does it mean selling everything tomorrow? Does it mean maybe staying active in the business, but just gradually easing back? But that's the first one. When do I want to leave? Secondly is, how much money do I want to live on every year for the rest of my life, beginning with when I leave the business? And then the third one is, to whom do I want to transfer the business? So for a long time, when I practiced law, especially as a younger attorney, I thought, well, that's it. We have to ask owners, when do they want to leave? How much money do they want? Who do they want to transfer the business to? And those indeed are 3 universal objectives that we really need to understand and be specific about. But one confession I would make, I guess, when I was a younger attorney, like a lot younger, people would ask me about, do you ever ask your owners about how they feel about their business, or how they feel about transferring the business to someone else and suddenly leaving? And at first I would say, well, that's all a bunch of touchy-feely stuff. And I'm a lawyer, and I'm going to be objective and come up with this plan, and my clients are going to go through this planning process. But as I've gotten older, I realized that these other goals, and I call them values-based goals, very often drive the entire exit planning process. In fact, owners don't leave the business very often unless they can achieve these other goals as well.
Okay.
So just to name a few of them, and this is what your advisors, if you're an owner listening out there, this is what your advisors should be asking you. It's not just, when do you want to leave, how much do you want, who do you want to transfer it to, but it's things like, how important is your legacy? How important is keeping the business in the community for the benefit of the community? How important is it that your family maintain what I call family harmony, so that the transfer process doesn't rip apart the family? How important are some of your civic or charitable goals and objectives, and do we need to think about those as we look at the most tax-efficient way of transferring the ownership out? So you have a host of these other touchy-feely values that, until an owner thinks through these and quantifies them, it's very difficult to go very far in the planning process. And one last thing, and then I'll shut up, about goal-based activity, is that very often in this planning process, owners are going to change their goals. It's very normal. It would be unexpected if it didn't happen. As owners start to think through this process more under the questioning and listening of their advisor, they're going to discover things about themselves they didn't realize they had. They're going to have goals that become important that they almost had absorbed as they became a business owner, but as they start to think about leaving, they're going to say, hey, if I leave, I want to be sure that my company stays in my little community, so that a third-party buyer doesn't come in and move the whole company down to Austin, Texas, or New York City, or wherever. So those become important, and we need to figure out what all these are before we move forward in the planning process.
Okay, great. Okay, so that pretty much sums it up for today. If you want more information about John and Business Enterprise Institute, please visit us show notes on our website. And while you're there, you can subscribe to our newsletter, which is written by John Brown, and you can also become eligible to win a free copy of his #1 book about exit planning.